Hello Lego engineers, welcome back for another awesome project with Teacher Richard. Today we are going to be building the paper crimper. Alright, so have your paper crimper blueprints out and ready so that in case you are ahead or behind me, you can remember which step you're on. And we're also going to need some strips of paper, okay, that are cut about a 1/2 inch wide, alright, or thinner. Okay, so they shouldn't be any wider than 1/2 inch wide. All right, and that way we can make sure that they fit into our awesome paper crimping machine. All right, engineers. Now, if you don't know what a paper crimper is, that's okay, because I didn't know what one was either until I found this project. All right, and it is so awesome, and you're going to be able to make stuff with this machine that we build that you can keep for yourself, that you can give to friends or family members as presents. All right, so not only are we building a machine, but we're building a machine that helps us make something, okay, which is a very useful type of machine. All right, so now I want you to take one of your regular strips of paper, okay, and I want you to pretend that you want to give this as a present to a friend or family member, okay? Your mom, your dad, your grandma, your grandpa, your friends, your cousins, your brother, your sister, all right? But a regular piece of paper is a pretty boring present to get, right? So something that we can maybe do is draw some designs on it and try to make a necklace or a wristband out of it, okay? So it's a little more exciting, right? So we could draw some flowers or hearts or smiley faces, or write their name on it. And then we could put it around their wrists like this, right? And then we could glue it or tape it. And then they have a wristband that is unique, right? It looks kind of cool, okay? But we can make it much better, okay? So we're gonna start, I'm gonna start by doing some designs on this, all right? So I'm just gonna do some very simple. Now you will notice that I am definitely not an artist. All right, engineers, even after 5 years of teaching preschool, my artwork is very subpar. But that's all right, because it's still unique, right? Even if you're not the best artist, people love getting stuff that you make because you made it, right? That's the cool part. So I'm just gonna do some very simple smiley faces and X's, because I found that the simpler, the better for me. All right, so this is my wristband that I'm gonna make for either myself or I could give it to someone, right? I could give it to my wife, I could give it to my son, and then I could tape it on just like that, okay? And we have a paper wristband. It's pretty cool, right? But it definitely could be cooler, okay? So we're gonna set this aside, all right? And we're gonna build our machine, and then we're gonna see what our machine can do to this to make it way more awesome, okay? So if you want, you can design your wristband now and set it aside. If you don't want to, we can do it later. It's up to you, okay? But I want us to get excited for the machine that we're gonna build, okay? So let's go straight to step number 1 on our paper crimper, okay? So that means we're gonna be taking our 2 largest 40-tooth gears, okay, and we're gonna be putting them on one of our medium-sized axles like this. Okay, so it's not our longest axle, but it's not our shortest axle either. Okay, we're gonna make sure that they're right in the center of the axle, and we're gonna set it right there. And then we're gonna take our 2 medium gears like this, and we're gonna put them on the middle of another medium-sized axle. Okay, so same sized axle. Now the gears on this project are gonna work together. The teeth are gonna be connected so that they turn at the same time, but they're gonna do something way cooler than they have in our previous projects. All right, I cannot wait to show you. So now we're gonna go to step 2, which means taking our longest brick with holes, and we're gonna put the 2 largest gears and the axle they're attached to on the 5th hole down. Okay, so there should be 4 holes showing on top. This is one of those parts of the projects that need to be precise so we can make sure we have enough room above and below to add the rest of our pieces. Okay, and then we're gonna add our other axle with the medium gears so that they're touching, all right, and the 4 gears have now made a gear system, and they're all turning together, okay? So now we're gonna set that down. We're gonna go to step number 3. All right, step number 3, there's a lot of steps that we're jamming into one, okay? But they're all pretty simple, so I know that you can do it. We're gonna take our other longest brick with holes, and we're gonna put it so that it matches up right with the other one so that they're the same height, okay? And we have our 2 axles going through them. And then we're going to take our 7-hole flat rectangle, and we're gonna put one on the top like that to help hold these together. And then we're gonna take one of our 11-hole rectangles like this, and we're gonna put that on the bottom. So now we have support on the bottom and the top of our paper crimper to help hold these 2 pieces together, okay? And also make sure that the gears stay in place. So now we're ready for step 4. For step 4, we're gonna take 2 of our single hole bricks like this, and we're gonna put them right up at the top in between the 2 tall red bricks. 1 and 2. Okay, so what we're trying to do here is we're trying to get it so that all of the bricks are at the same height, so that it's easier to add our reinforcement piece across. So now so notice how these are now at the same height as our red bricks. So now we're gonna take our 2 circle bricks, our 4-dot circle bricks, we're gonna put 1 right there. We're gonna put the other right here. So now we have our 2 circle bricks, our 2 1-hole bricks. This is what it looks like from the top. And then one last little step on the bottom that might be easy to miss on step number 4 is we're going to take another 1-hole brick like this, and we're going to add it in this little spot right here. Right, I put it right there in between the 2 red bricks on the bottom. Okay, and then that completes step number 4. And then step number 5, all right, we're going to take our other 7-hole rectangle brick, put it across the top like that. So now all these pieces, now that they're at the same height, we can reinforce all of them at the same time. We're going to take our 2 3-hole bricks like this. We're going to put 1 here. And we're going to put 1 here. So that's the same idea, put 1 there and 1 there, is that we want to get this all the same height across so that we can add our reinforcement brick. Right like that. Okay, so now we have a very sturdy stand. All right, and our paper crimper can stand up all on its own. So that completes step 6 for us. Now we're going to flip over to step number 7. Okay, now we have it standing up. So now we can hold it by the stand, or we can hold it up here, whatever you prefer, and we can spin it and we can get our gears to activate, okay? But I know that spinning these axles aren't always the easiest things to put your fingers on. So to help make it a little bit easier, you can either, well, this is what I choose to do. You can add one of our rubber wheels at the top, like this. Okay, and then now we've increased the area that we can hold to turn, all right, and it helps make it easier. Some friends have found that they prefer other pieces right here, like you can put the crank or the lever if you want. So you can try switching out different pieces to see which one makes it the easiest to turn the gears for you, okay? That's a personal preference. Okay, so now we have our sturdy foundation built. We have our gear system working. Okay, our teeth on our gears are touching and turning at the same time. Do you want to see what this does to some paper? Okay, so to get this paper crimper working properly, it takes a little bit of practice, okay, and that is all right. So what we want to do is we want to make it so that we can put our paper right here in between the gears, okay, and then as I do that, as I feed the paper in, I start to turn the wheel. Okay, see how my hand's on the wheel right now, kind of holding it in place, because if I let go, the paper falls out, okay? So you kind of have to do 2 things at once. And then it's a little bit tricky at the beginning, but you're going to get better and better at it, okay? Remember, I've done this hundreds of times, so I have lots of practice. So I'm still holding it in place, and I'm going to put one hand up here, hold it at the top, and with my other hand, I'm going to spin the wheel, and look at what happens when it comes out the other side, engineers. Okay, we input it into our machine on this end, and then it outputs on the other end. And check that out. That right there is crimped paper. Okay, so when we say crimped, we mean that it has a lot of tiny, tiny little bumps on it. Okay, so now I'm going to feed another one in. Now, if you're putting it in and you're spinning it and it just keeps spitting the paper back out at you, okay, that means you're spinning it the wrong way. All right, you want the gears to be going this direction, right? Because we want our machine to output the paper this way. So if you're spinning it one way and it's just not working, no matter how many times you try spinning the other direction, okay? And you're gonna have to spin pretty hard at the beginning to get the paper in, all right? So don't be afraid to use a lot of your strength to make it go through, okay? And then once it's in there, it should start spinning a little bit easier. Check that out, engineers. This one's a little cleaner. It went in straight. Sometimes it'll go in at an angle and the crimps won't be perfectly straight, right? But that one was super straight. How cool does that look, engineers? Okay, now the fun thing with this is that you can put a design on it before you put it through the machine, okay? And then after it comes out of the machine, the design will still be there. Okay, but the paper will just be bumpy and crimped. So you don't lose the design, but it still looks unique, right? So now you can, of course, start designing any papers that you want, okay? You can put your mom or dad's name, you can put your name, you can do it however you like, and you can start feeding these into your, machine, right? And start making as many wristbands, bracelets, necklaces you want, okay? If you tape multiple pieces or glue, if you tape or glue multiple pieces of paper together, then you can make a necklace or a crown, okay? If you just want to do one, then you can wrap it around your wrist like I did earlier, and then use some tape, a little bit of tape or glue, okay, to tape it on. If you're having trouble doing this, you can always ask your mom or your dad or an older brother or sister for help, okay? You know what a lot of friends did in our live classes? A lot of friends actually made collars for either their real dog or cat or a stuffed animal dog or cat, which I thought was a pretty cool idea. I hadn't seen anyone do that before, okay? And now if you make a wristband like this, right, somebody might wonder, how did you get that paper so bumpy, right? And if they don't know what a paper crimper machine is, okay, the only other way that I can think to get paper that bumpy would be to fold it back and forth by hand over and over and over again all the way down, right? Because I don't know of any other kind of machine that can get paper this bumpy, especially one that's made out of Legos, right? So you could go and you could fold it one at a time, right? The problem with this, there's a couple problems. One, as you can see, it takes a long time, right? We did some tests in one of my live classes, and most people could do about one paper per minute, okay? But then, when we put it in our machines, they were able to do up to 10 papers per minute, okay? So this machine is much more efficient, which means it can do way more work, okay, than we can do by hand, right? And the other problem with folding it by hand, which I'm going to show you, of course, remember I said I'm not very good at art projects, but one problem is that when you do it by hand, all the folds aren't exactly straight, right? You can see a lot of those are curved or at diagonal lines. Okay, but then when we put one in our machine, by putting one in our machine, all the lines are perfectly the same distance apart, and they're all perfectly straight, right? You can see the difference there. Which one would you rather get as a present? The one that went through the machine or the one that I did on the other side, right? I know which one I would get. Okay, so not only can machines help us make projects faster, but it also makes them so that they are uniform, which means they all look the same. Okay, so by using our paper crimper machine, we can make up to 10 wristbands a minute, right? And they will all look the same. They will all look awesome. Whereas opposed to if we did it by hand, we could only do 1 per minute, and they don't all look the same, right? This one looks a little bit sideways, like I messed up when I was folding it, because I did, right? That's a lot of folds to do perfectly, but the machine does it perfect every single time. Okay, engineers? Now, I hope you have so much fun playing with your paper crimper machine. One modification I would love to challenge you to do, okay, is to see if you could add another set of gears, right? Because we have our tiny gears at the bottom. Could you add another set of gears at the bottom? Now, I'm going to do it the shortcut way, where I'm going to add the gears on without taking it apart. Whoops. But one thing that you can do, if you wanted, if you're having a hard time doing this, is you can take it apart, right, and go back to step number 3. When you're adding the gears on these axles, these gears, and these gears, and these gears, and then you put all of them on, and then you rebuild it. It doesn't take that long, right? But now my gear system has 6 gears instead of 4. All right, and then I want you to test and see if adding extra gears actually makes it any bumpier. What do you think? Do you think it would make it bumpier by adding extra gears? Okay, so what we can do is we can have the paper going out that way, and then you feed it back in this way. And the cool thing about the way this, because there's 3 sets of gears, is that they're all spinning in the right direction, so that the paper kind of looks like a snake going through all 6 gears, right? Okay. Now this one ended up being a little bit sideways as I pushed it through. Okay, but I want you to see at home if your paper crimper machine, if it adds more bumps by adding another set of gears. Okay, and I would love to hear what you discovered during your test. All right, I hope you have so much fun building your paper crimper machine, engineers. Thanks for all your hard work today. I can't wait to see you next week for another fun project. Have a great day.